Dear student friends, again I am welcoming you all in my today's super lecture. I am Dr. Mahendra Godbole, faculty of your institute, and in today's presentation we are going to talking about the systematics. Systematics means what? It is a branch of the science which deals with the study of the classification of any living organism. Now we are going to dealing with the taxonomy. Taxonomy is supposed to be arranging or ordering the randomly species in a systematic manner. So very simple example I will give you. Let us take an example. You are supposed to be librarian and a pile of the textbook has been given to you. How you will arrange it? So let us take an example. There are certain textbooks which are related to the physics, maybe some textbooks for biology, maybe some textbook for chemistry. In chemistry, there are another few copies, maybe the organic chemistry, in a geochemistry, or in physics, maybe electronics and geophysics and that electronics and so on about the physics. And in chemistry or in biology, maybe genetics, maybe the breeding, plant breeding, animal breeding, and any other conceptual textbook may be there. You will arrange systematically. You will arrange the biology textbook in a particular cupboard, physics textbook in a particular cupboard, okay, physics followed by the geophysics, followed by the electronics, followed by the atoms, nucleus of the atoms, and so on. That is the arranging of the textbook. Now what we are going to dealing here, what we are going to discussing, let us take an example. There was a riddle in front of the biologist. So how to solve this riddle? Because there were numerous species were existing on the planet, in a water and in a air. Okay, so that systematics which is supposed to be a taxonomy. The taxonomy branch has been evolved, and in this taxonomy there are 8 million to a trillion of the species are existing on this planet. So there were the two scientists. One was he has classified the animals in 3 kingdoms, maybe the archaebacteria, eubacteria as a protista, and another Whitaker, he was supposed to be another one scientist, and he has classified those animals in 6 categories. Let us see what is the systematics of the living organism. Okay, so the systematics means, as I already introduced about the classifications, and that it has led eventually systematics. What kind of the methods has been adopted by the scientist? Maybe the Greek and Romans and philosophers have continued their right of the systematic or the science. It is a systematic arrangement of the species. Okay. Now classification. What is classification? Classification is nothing but the arrangement of the species, and this arrangement of the organism here, that is based on the distinct character, maybe on some similarities and dissimilarities. There are certain species, those are having a similar character. Let us take an example. That is supposed to be a starfish or the sea squid. Okay, those are supposed to be belonging from the non-chordates. Okay, those are the marine. So likewise we can classify them. There are some species of plants which are having monocotyledon. Those are supposed to be below. We have to go in a different way, because classification is not a simple task, because we have to check the different morphological feature, certain chemical features, and even nowadays the new science has been merged, that is the DNA technology. It is also going to identifying the arrangement of the different traits or the genes in a particular model. That is also important. While going ahead, the classification means the arrangement of the organisms, okay, or the species on a distinct characters, and this classification is based on the similarities and dissimilarities. Okay, some species. Let us take an example. We are supposed to be the human. We are belonging from the mammalian. We are mammals, but still we are different from our apes. Okay, according to our cranial capacity, our skull, our developmental process, and so on. Posture, erect posture, and still there are many mammals, they do not have such a kinds of the modification. So it is a continuous process. Now the three domains of the life has been, the three domains, and three domains were considered by scientists on the basis of the, the chemistry, or we may say that is the morphological feature of the animals. That is an archaebacteria. Those archaebacteria were supposed to be prokaryotes, followed the archaebacteria, means those are also the prokaryotes, means the prokaryotes as a archaebacteria, they were very simple body structure, whereas the eubacteria and eubacteria may be having certain developed characters. While talking about the geochemistry or the chemotaxonomy, in chemotaxonomy, let us see, this is also an important branch because the chemical composition is considered for the classification of certain animals. Let us see certain species. What is species? Species is supposed to be the most important and the lowest rank of any living organism, or especially plant. Take an example, and which may have the capacity to interbreed with the same orderly last range or last rank of the species. The monocotyledon may be interbreed with the monocotyledon only, not to the dicotyledon. Okay, fishes may interbreed with the fishes, not to the aves and not to the mammals. That is interbreeding and giving the offspring. Now, while talking about the chemistry, certain constituents, for example, in organisms, every organism is having a different constituents. For example, archaea or this archaebacteria cell is supposed to be without peptidoglycine. Peptidoglycine is absent in this earlier formed organism, whereas among the eukarya or eukaryotes, especially take an example of the plants, the plant cell wall is supposed to be made by the cellulose or cellulosic cell wall. It is tough. That is chemistry. Chemical point is also considered by the scientist to evaluate and to classify the plants or to classify the organism as a taxonomy. The division is also important. The division is a category composed of the related classes. For example, the division of the angiosperm. For example, we are having a numerous species of the plants, but we can classify them quickly on the basis of either those are the angiosperm or those are the gymnosperms, on the basis of either the closed seeds or the naked seeds, on the basis of that. Then again, if I am going ahead with the classification of the angiosperms, then I will talk about either those are the dicotyledon and monocotyledon. The plants is having either angiosperm or the gymnosperms, and within the angiosperms, whether those are the monocotyledon and dicotyledon, that is also possible to classify. So we are going here from the higher rank to the lower rank. This is supposed to be the plantae, or in plant the division may be the angiosperms, and final species may be family species, or that is jawar and wheat. The last species will be the jawar and wheat. Likewise, while talking about the next character, that is a numerical taxonomy, this system is based on the quantification of the characters and the develops algorithm classification. Basis is the taxonomy, and create a taxonomy using a numeric algorithms like the cluster analysis using the subjectives, evaluations and other properties. There may be the other properties can be considered by the different scientists, maybe by the Sokel and the Smith, which was worked on this numerical taxonomy. While talking about the cladogram, it is also a typical, and it is a branching pattern of the shown previous page diagram. So the another one is a phylogeny. Phylogeny is also based on the different morphological characters. Phylogeny. Okay, there are certain species, those are having the lineages to the other species, and here this phylogeny means the evolutionary relationship. So what kind of the characters can be considered in this phylogeny? Let us take an embryological development. At the earliest stage of the embryological development, you will see many species are having a same embryonic shape, same embryological features. Okay, at the earliest stage, the earliest embryo of the dinosaur or the aves or the mammals maybe have certain similarity. Let us take an example for the humans. human's embryology, or the mammalian embryology, or the aves embryology, and the fish's embryology, if it is showing similarity, means those all are supposed to be evolved from the dinosaur. The reptiles is supposed to be the ancestor for the mammals, waves, and fishes. So, according to certain observation by the biologist, then phylogeny is also important. It is a systems and helps to understand the evolutions and also focuses on the similarities of their metabolic function. Different function has to be evaluated, and the two scientists has worked on this phylogeny. One who was the Woos and another was a Whitaker. While talking about the DNA or the DNA barcoding, you know that DNA is supposed to be a double strand. It is having a different codons by means of the presence of the adenosine or cytosine and guanine. So the different sequences are supposed to be existing on the strands of the the DNA, and which may decide the characters of the parents. So that is also important, and this technology is also important in a medicinal biology. Okay, as well, it is a important, and this barcoding has many applications. For example, a few mentions are in the protections of the endangered species. So we may store the inheritance material, and it is also important to save the endangered species. There are many endangered species data has been published by the Red Book data. That is, UNESCO is supposed to be supporting to those endangered species as to develop the ecological balance. Okay, and therefore this technology, that is the the DNA barcoding is very important to restore the species for their continuation and the preservation of the natural resources, pest control and agriculture, and identifying the diseases, vectors, and authentications of the natural health products, and the identifications of the medical plants. Many applications we can enlist about the DNA barcoding. While talking about the taxonomic category, so these are the categories of the taxonomy. The first category will be the kingdom, followed by the division, class, subclass, series, order, family, genus, and species. For example, if I am talking about the plantae, means the plantae are supposed to be separated from either the fungi or the microorganism or the animals. The plants are supposed to be fixed to the soil, and it may bear the flowers, and those are having a different morphological characters. Means the plantae are supposed to be distinct from the animally or the different microbes. So the plantae may be divided on the next division, next rank, that is supposed to be the division or the phylum, maybe the angiosperm, and within the angiosperms, either it is dicotyledon, sometimes we may call monocotyledon also, but here we are talking about the hibiscus rosa as a China rose, means it is belonging from family Plantae, and the division angiosperm because it is having a two cotyledon in its seed. Okay, we will talk about the reproduction of those hibiscus rosa. Okay, and kingdom is supposed to be a highest taxonomic category composed by the different subkingdoms, maybe subkingdoms, and up to the species. The order is supposed to be decreasing, and the lowest rank of the classification is supposed to be the species. Now this is the units of the classification, and this it is the same for the Naza and the hibiscus rosa. This is also belonging from the that this is a classification for the plant. This is a classification for the plant where the hibiscus rosa is belonging from the kingdom Plantae or the subkingdom Angiosperm, and here in the Animalia, the Chordata, it is a Naza. It is supposed to be a snake species, and it is belonging from the Animalia, not the Plantae or not the microbes. The species is very important, and it may have the capacity, it is having a character to interbreed with the other species, and it is supposed to be a static unit. In ecology, the species is supposed to be a static. It is going to continuing its lineages by means of the interbreeding, by means of the producing the offsprings. Therefore, the last unit of the classification is a species, followed by the family. It is also having a certain character. For example, a family is having a common character. Many times we will see, for example, if I'm talking about the family cat, maybe the big cat, or the domestic cat, okay, and even those lions and also belonging from the same, but the dog is not supposed to be belonging from the family, that cat, okay, felidae, whatever. So the family is one of the major and hierarchical taxonomical rank, and the family represent the group of the closely related genera. The family is showing the different character of the genera, and genera may be the hibiscus, and in gossypiums and sida and bombax are included in the family of the Malvaceae. The Malvaceae species are given. The next point is supposed to be the cohort in order. Taxonomic rank, it is also used for the classification of the organisms and reorganized by the nomenclature. Okay, order is also important. And then class, it is a distinct taxonomical unit. Here is supposed to be the class. That is, the class is also very important, and with the special placentations in a group in order to, okay, that is also important, class. And the subclass followed by the class, it is also a distinct taxonomical rank, which is also showing a group of the character in a particular species. Okay, so this is supposed to be this presentation, which was based on the state board. Okay, while talking about the CBSE board or the NCRT, so you will see these are the important species, how we can classify the species on the basis of the classification is based on the level of the organization, whether the organism or the species is a simple, unicellular, or the body character. For example, porifera, very simple body structure. The species may be used certain gradients from the water. The water may goes inside its body, and some important nutrients or maybe minerals can be utilized by the porifera. There is no standard, no special organized body character it is found. And in this, that is a level of the organization. Level of the organization, we are going to talking about the level of the organization from the porifera, or from a simple to complex. We are going from a porifera to the human, or porifera to the mammalian. We are talking about the symmetry. The symmetry may be, okay, equal symmetry, biosymmetry, yes, that is symmetry may be important for the it may be the bilateral symmetry and the radial symmetry. We are the example of the bilateral symmetry. The starfish is supposed to be the example of the radial symmetry, where the every, that is even octopus is also having the radial symmetry. These are the symmetry. And then germ layer. Germ layer is also important, whether the animals are that is a triploblastic. So the triploblastic means the mesoderm, exoderm, mesoderm, and endoderms, whether existing at the earlier stage of the development of the embryo. The hexodermis is connected to the development of the external appearance. Mesoderm is connected to the development of the heart or the brain, and the last is supposed to be related to the neuron system or the nervous system. While talking about the germ layer, it is also the nature of the coelom is also important, whether it is a coelomate or the pseudocoelomate or the coelomate. For example, in Annelida, those are supposed to be the coelomate, means the body. Next character is also considered by the CBSE board as segmentation. You know the earthworms, and there are certain insect, their body is also segmented. Take an example of any insect, mosquito, that its body is also segmented. Cockroach, body is segmented. Do you know the segmentation? Okay, here the segmentation is also important. And in this species, there may be some species which are having both the sexes on the same species, hermaphrodite. Okay, and the body is divided into two segments. For example, in annelids and in arthropods. Arthropod is a very big class. Okay, and another body character is a notochord. So now we are going to understanding the higher evolved and highly organized species. The body character which is going to becoming a more complex because the history of the life of the the history of the life on this planet suggests the struggle for the existence, struggle for the modification. Now we are going to looking the different characters like the notochords, that is a dorsal notochord is situated dorsal side, back side, not to the ventral side. Okay, this is a notochord. In human being, the notochord is very well developed. In many animals, you can see, but those are not developed in the lower. We cannot see the notochord in the starfish, in squid, and in octopus or in any lower organized species. That is the chordata means it is a having a bony skeleton. Bony skeleton means the chordate. While talking about the digestive systems and the circulatory system, we saw in a earlier developed species, poorly organized species, maybe in porifera or in other species where we cannot find a systematic development of the digestive tract or the digestive system. But in a highly evolved organisms, we see how the digestive system start from in buccal cavity and end to the anus, and within that buccal cavity to the anus, that entire the digestive system, many different kinds of the acids and base, and the digestion is very important, and ultimate product will be the formation of the blood. And again, blood is also important for the survival of the individual cell. That is the part of the physiology we will see later on. So these are the different features of the different phyla. Porifera is supposed to be marine, while the Coelenteratas are supposed to be aquatic. The other species is marine, and Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, those are supposed to be having bilateral symmetry. While talking about the annelids, those are also segmented and those are aquatic. Arthropod is supposed to be either aquatic. Prawn, let us take an example of prawn. We can find the prawn in sea water, in a fresh water, in a salty water. That is also the the movement or the occurrence of the species may be on the land or in the water, or in aerial mode also. There are certain species which are having the mollusks. Mollusk is also a very cosmopolitan living group. You can find the species of the species of mollusk as a bivalve, or the lamellibranchiates, or the gastropods. शंख बोलते हैं उसे. Those are belonging from the this mollusk. Okay, and their body is not so developed. It is non-chordate. Body is very simple. The animal is going to residing in the last whorl of the chamber of that gastropods cavity or the species. जो last chamber होता है उसके अंदर the organisms may reside. And while talking about the echinoderms, those are belonging from the marine, and they are also having very simple body structure, but they are exclusively marine. Who? Those echinoderms. And then hemichordates means those are not completely chordate. They are a semi-chordate or the hemichordate, you may say. And while talking about the chordates may be different, and we are moving towards how the cartilaginous or the bony skeleton is developed in the fishes, and this is a systematic classification of the vertebrate class wise. This is supposed to be, there are some species, although they are the chordate, but they are the jawless, and some species that is having a different body structure, where the amphibians and reptiles and aves, and then lastly the mammals. So this is a order, and this order is supposed to be the last developed order on this planet of the Earth. So this was all about the taxonomy or the classification of the the animals or the plant, the basic feature of the classification. Those all basic feature has to be considered to classify any species. You may also able to classify the different species surrounding you on the basis of this chart. Thank you.